Well, I think that we are going to have a period of uncertainty in terms of what the US and Saudi Arabia do in terms of a response against Iran. I think for now we're looking at some exit strategies. Trump's tweet, I don't think, means that he wants military action. I don't necessarily think the Saudis want military action at this stage either. But it's risky. I think the attack probably came from somewhere outside Yemen, so we're looking at a bit of tensions for the next few weeks.
So Ayham, Houthi militia have already taken responsibility for the attack, but there are lots of reports over the weekend suggesting that it may have come directly from the Iranians. And indeed, the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, says that there are no evidence the attacks came from Yemen. Either way, there are obvious links to Iran. But how much of an escalation would it be if there was actually evidence that it came directly from Iran and not from the Houthi rebels?
So it depends on where. If it's from Iranian territory, I think we would be looking at a serious risk of an escalation in the region. I think Yemen is within the boundaries of the Yemen conflict would be acceptable. Iraq would be somewhat problematic in the middle. But again, I do not think that either Saudi Arabia or the US necessarily want to see an attack or war in the region.
You know, earlier there were reports that the UN meeting, proposed meeting that could have taken place between President Rouhani and President Trump on the sidelines of UN has now been called off. Surely Iran, if their sole incentive is to remove sanctions, they're just shooting themselves in the foot by being increasingly provocative in the region.
So part of the Iranian strategy is building leverage, is trying to demonstrate that they have military power to compensate for some of the economic challenges that they're facing. They might have played over their hand in this case. I think an attack on Aramco's core facilities is probably that. So I don't think that Zarif's comments are in the right place. A maximum pressure campaign maybe encourage the Iranians to cross a boundary here. It's not going to lead to more diplomacy and maybe even more UN sanctions or international sanctions in this case.
Do you still see a possibility of a meeting between the two sides going ahead?
I think it's very difficult to see a meeting between Trump and Rouhani at this stage. Trump is definitely looking for a foreign policy victory, but I think the circumstances make it very difficult.
What about the impact on Aramco here? Let's not forget this is the largest processing oil plant in Saudi Arabia, directly has implications on Aramco. Does that have any knock-on effects for this potential IPO we've been talking about for years now?
Well, I think it's very difficult to proceed with an IPO right now given the damage. So they have to fix all of this, probably pushes the IPO into 2020, even on the local stock exchange. It definitely has an impact on its valuation. It's something that investors, I think, have been ignoring for a while, that there is a geopolitical risk, a geopolitical and security risk facing Aramco facilities.
And indeed the vulnerability to these types of attacks in the future.
Absolutely. It's not simply an asset in Saudi Arabia, it's an asset in Saudi Arabia with plenty of geopolitical risk. And we're seeing that in markets today, some of the supply outages. I think we're probably going to end up with a prolonged outage out of Aramco, and we're talking about many weeks to fully ramp up to pre-attack levels. So it will be a bit of volatility.
Hi, I'm Joanna Bersachi, and thank you for watching. You can check out more of our videos by clicking on the boxes on the screen. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more from CNBC International. Thank you for watching.